Hi all, welcome back to the channel, all 333 of you. Did I lose subs? Now is probably as good a time as any to beg for your subscription. If you couldn't tell, I'm currently going through a quarter-life crisis, and my sanity depends entirely on me succeeding at YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel, this is literally all I have. I like Twitter. I don't like Elon Musk, but I like Twitter before Elon Musk bought it, so there's that. I don't like the racism, the homophobia, the misogyny, the outright bigotry that is spread throughout the app. I also don't like the videos of actual Russia-Ukraine war footage that autoplay for some reason after I get done watching a basketball highlight and ruin my day as soon as I wake up. But overall, the app can be a pretty enjoyable experience if you curate your timeline properly. My favorite side of Twitter is NBA Twitter. Basketball is my favorite sport, and over on NBA Twitter, not only do you get highlights and news about the sport, but you also get detailed breakdowns from the game from freelance analysts and other cool shit. Additionally, it's also kind of become like the new meme Twitter for those of us that pay attention to the sport. Laker Nation specifically is probably the funniest community on there, like y'all niggas got it. It can be toxic at times, of course, like much of the internet, but overall NBA Twitter is like the main thing that gets me to open the app on a day-to-day basis. But unfortunately, over the past handful of days, there's been a lot of unwanted tourism from people who genuinely just don't care about basketball in the slightest and have effectively used the recent release of Chicago Bulls player Jaden Ivey to spread propaganda and hate towards the LGBT community. All of this comes from him specifically calling out the NBA for celebrating Pride Month during one of his Instagram lives that he's been doing lately. This all started a few days ago when, after a workout, Jaden took to Instagram Live to just kind of rant about his interpretation of the Bible. And to many of us, it was clear that something was just very off about this whole thing. It didn't seem like mentally he was all the way there. Like, he was all over the place, jumping from topic to topic. None of it was cohesive. Clips started making their way over to Twitter. A lot of people expressed concern, but people also clown on him a bit. I mean, objectively speaking. Some of the things he was saying were just kind of ridiculous.
Is going up. They are going to screenshot that Jaden Ivey post and put it as soon as y'all lose. So please don't let us do that.
What was the quote? The Pistons will not save you.
This will not save you on Judgment Day. Oh, man. Nigga said Steph Curry not a real question.
Hey, Steph won't go by like, what the fuck? What did he say fuck me for?
Hey, man.
But overall, the sentiment seemed to be that something just wasn't right with Jaden.
I think what's happening on social media happens all the time, where things get aggregated, clips may be seen, maybe somebody just reads a post and they form an opinion that way. So there are people that truly don't believe that he needs help and instead he's just a devoted Christian. That's not the reality. As somebody that he is on my favorite team and he is a player, I did my due diligence and I at least attempted to watch some of these Instagram lives. And you can't convince me that the people that don't think he need help have watched any of the actual thing other than seeing a 2-second clip. You know, because he is, at least in my opinion, like he's pretty manic right now, where you know where his mind is at, and it is on his religion, but it also is 17 different webs branching off of that. And it reminds me of what you see from manic episodes where a person cannot stay focused and they are going on and on and on. And I'm not at liberty to say exactly because it was told to me in confidence, but stuff that are happening behind the scenes, it was a building thing. It wasn't that he said this on Instagram and it was like, oh, this was something that has been happening behind the scenes between teammates, media, team officials. This is not anything new.
He went on live the following day to continue preaching to his followers about the religion, as well as criticize certain players for not being righteous enough, in his words, most notably Stephen Curry. The Bulls front office clearly decided they had enough of this nonsense, as shortly thereafter, they announced that they were waiving Ivey from the Bulls due to conduct detrimental to the team. This was followed up by insider reports that behind the scenes, Ivey had been going off the rails with this whole Christianity thing for quite some time.
All y'all going ahead. What? You right there. Hell. You. Hell. You. Hell.
Now, immediately when this happened, those people, you know which ones I'm talking about, went online to express their frustrations with Jaden's release, stating that this was religious persecution. oh my God, he said something about the gays and they cut him off. It's the LGBT, all that bullshit. They started doing that. Specifically, they latched on to Jaden's comments surrounding the NBA celebrating Pride Month. Doing the usual, claiming this is a violation of his First Amendment rights and the media doesn't want you talking about gay people, all that nonsense. But they ignore literally everything else that led up to his release because, like Kenny said, this has been building up for a long time. It's just now making its way into the public eye, but they don't want to hear that. Now I went ahead and did the very hard work of watching the entire 75 minutes of the very first Instagram live that he did. It's actually a pretty hard watch. Like, he sounds manic, not full-blown incoherent babbling, but he's getting there. He is legitimately all over the place. He cannot stay focused on one thing. He has an incredibly strict interpretation of the Bible. So strict that it is to a level that 99% of you jumping to his defense are probably going to hell in his eyes. He starts off by talking about Judgment Day, which kind of just becomes a theme of this entire live stream. Judgment Day, for those of you who are not aware, is supposed to be the day that Jesus basically comes back and decides who goes to heaven and who doesn't. Those who don't burn and suffer for eternity.
Right, but the preaching of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing. That's why they don't take the word of God seriously. Right? If the Bible says the righteous are scarcely saved, where will the ungodly and the sinner appear? Where will the ungodly and the sinner appear? The ungodly and the sinner will be casted into the lake of fire. But where will the righteous are scarcely saved? The righteous barely make it into the kingdom. That's what the Bible says.
Jaden then goes into all this talk about purity. Like, he's very hyper fixated on this idea that you have to be pure. You can't do this, you can't do that. Don't fornicate before marriage, which, to be fair, is pretty common. He also says you can't smoke weed, you can't smoke cigarettes or use tobacco products, you can't drink alcohol.
Our vessels are not used for unrighteousness. God made the hairs on our head. God gave us eyes to see. God gave us mouths to speak. God gave us teeth to eat. God gave us bodies to go work out and go play basketball, go lift weights, go do push-ups. God didn't make our bodies to smoke weed. God didn't make our bodies to smoke cigarettes. Right? I used to smoke cigarettes all the time, but God freed me from it. But you see, when you smoke cigarettes, what happens? You end up getting lung cancer. When you drink alcohol, you get drunk. And what happens when you get drunk? You're not sober-minded. And then these things happen. These things happen. What happens when people drink and drive? It's a car accident that happens. It's consequences. It's consequences for those who walk in the flesh. You're going to sin. You're going to sin. You're not going to overcome sin.
Also, apparently, using curse words means that you have a black, evil heart and you are going to hell.
It says either make the tree good and its fruit good, or else make the tree bad and its fruit bad. For a tree is known by its fruits. Its fruit, brood of vipers. How can you, being evil, speak good things? For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. A good man out of the good treasure of his heart brings forth good things, and an evil man out of evil treasure brings forth evil things. But I say to you that for every idle word men may speak, they will give an account of it in the day of judgment. For by your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. You see, many of y'all curse. Y'all still got curse words in your mouth, right? And that shows that your heart is evil. That shows that you don't have goodness in your heart. If you over here cursing like a sailor, how do you have goodness coming out of your heart? How do you speak the truth if you speak just like the world? It says an evil man out of the evil treasure brings forth evil things. No good man is cursing. So that right there shows that there's evil in that person. And that evil needs to be cleansed. It needs to be cleansed. It needs to, the Bible says that clean the inside of the cup, not the outside. Not the outside of the cup, the inside. What's in the heart? Out of the heart come murders, adulteries, fornications. All these things corrupt. It says let no corrupt communication come out of your mouth. But why is every time many people, even on the basketball court, be cussing? Be cussing. Right? It's because it's evil in their heart. They don't know good.
Yes, that's right. All of you who are using every curse word and slur under the sun to defend Jaden Ivey from his detractors, you are going to burn for eternity, according to him. And it's like when he begins to break down his past, you kind of just get this sense that he feels some type of shame about the stuff that he used to do. He spends time jumping to random scriptures throughout the Bible, but there's no correlation between them. It's just very odd. The only thing we have close to some type of main point is the idea of Judgment Day and remaining as pure as you possibly can. Ideally, per Jaden, keeping the same level of innocence that you had when you were a child.
Right, and they have a decision to make. So It says, unless you are converted and become as little children, you will by no means enter the kingdom of heaven. Right? We have to become little children to enter the kingdom of heaven. We have to be righteous. We have to be innocent like the child, like my son. Like my son. He comes to me and he says, "Hey, Dada," with such an innocence. And he only knows what I teach him.
I'm sorry, that's just not fucking possible. Like, we live in the real world. That you can't do that. It's not real. Again, incredibly strict interpretation of the Bible and its scriptures. Dare I say it borders on religious fanaticism. Once more, it's not just the things that he's saying, it's the way that he sounds while he is saying them. He sounds like he's just all over the fucking place. Feel free to watch it for yourselves, but this is just part one in the saga that basically led to all of this mess. Now, I just want to get this off real quick. The NBA is not persecuting players for being Christian. Like, have you ever met, like, an athlete? They're almost always Christian. Even in the NBA, you have Stephen Curry, Drew Holiday, Jonathan Isaac, Ayo Dosunmu. They've all been open about their religious beliefs. In fact, the two biggest faces of the NBA over the past, 10, 15 years have spoken about God in one way or another, being LeBron James and once again, Stephen fucking Curry.
I gave everything that I had. I poured my heart, my blood, my sweat, my tears to this game, and against all odds, I don't know why we want to take the hardest road. I don't know why the man above gives me the hardest road, but it's nothing the man above don't put you in situations that you can't handle. And I just kept that same positive attitude, like, instead of saying, why me, they're saying this is what he want me to do. And Cleveland, this is for you.
And it's just like, I feel like if the two biggest names in the sport are open about their faith, that's probably not the issue here. And brother, the official Pistons YouTube channel uploaded a 30-minute video for Ivey's return that was literally titled Leaning on Faith. So please miss me with the whole religious persecution nonsense. That's just not what's happening here. But unfortunately, as the story has continued to develop, this has been the argument that's being pushed by Christian nationalists, conservatives, everyone on that side of the internet. And this is what they're saying. They're calling it religious persecution. And as I've mentioned before, they're latching on to the Gay Pride Month comments that were made by Ivey. All of them choosing to ignore Jaden Ivey's very obvious mental decline. As well as the fact that he's just not fucking good at basketball. At least not at the NBA level.
Lost it. Ivey with the steal, going back the other way. Ivey's looking to sling a pass, and that puts too much heat on it for Simons. Brown slides on the deck to save it, being hassled by Okoro, who forces a jump ball.
Ivey that time looked like Nolan Ryan. He threw a fastball.
he kept crab, doing that crab step. Like, watch it, like a shortstop.
What's this?
Just recoiling, ready to fling it.
It should have been a changeup, but he threw a fastball and hit it right. Man, you gotta give me a better signal, baby.
Or maybe they don't know because they don't really care about basketball.
Jaden Ivey, amazing basketball player.
To be fair, he's also been dealing with injuries for the better part of the past couple seasons, which is why he's only played 40 games in the past 2 years. It's why Detroit moved off his contract. When you're not available, it's kind of hard to justify paying you millions of dollars to kind of just rehab when you're also at the same time going on these unintelligible Instagram live rants and saying that the vast majority of people on the planet are going to burn in hell for all eternity. These Instagram lives were apparently just the most visible portion of his mental decline because multiple sources have now reported that this has been an issue for some time now.
And then he was throwing other people under the bus that ain't got nothing to do with him, right? I like Jaden Ivey. I watched Jaden Ivey on a regular basis at the NBA games. I rock with Jaden Ivey, right? I think that he deserves a job inside of the NBA. But the word around the league, and I actually talked to a couple of NBA players that actually used to play with him on the Detroit Pistons. I'm not going to say no names. The word around the league was that he was pushing his beliefs and his views on other people and making it difficult for people within the organization to do their job as basketball players, executives, and so on and so forth. So
it's been problematic in the locker room, with him reportedly destroying locker room sanctuaries. pressing teammates on their faith and whether or not they have fornicated before marriage, determining which players were and were not righteous. It's been problematic during interviews with him apparently asking the reporters if they fornicated before marriage. So like while he's being interviewed and asked questions on his performance or maybe his rehab, he's just like, I'm going to stop you right there. Have you been fucking?
This dude, Jaden Ivey, okay, and I'm speaking from my experience. I don't need a 22, 23-year-old kid trying to tell me about the righteous and the unrighteous in my relationship with God. Did you fornicate with your wife before you got married? Have you been saved? Bruh, I'm just trying to figure out how your knee feels. I don't care about your stupid opinion. Now he's doing that with coaching staff, with teammates. I would not call this a wild type of group compared to some of the Bulls teams I covered. But these dudes don't want you killing everything in the locker room with your weirdness, preacher. They didn't want it. That's where the red flag started.
Can you imagine being one of the Bulls' many young players? Like, take, for example, Matas Buzelis, 21-year-old budding star in the NBA. You guys have been losing a lot of games, but you dropped 41 points on 57% shooting in an overtime win against the Warriors. You're hype. Your teammates are hyped for you. You decide to go out and celebrate, have the time of your fucking life, whatever. And the next day during workouts, you've just got Jaden Ivey pressing you on what you did last night. Did you fornicate? Did you defile that woman? I saw you with the woman on Jalen Smith's private Instagram story. Did you defile her before the eyes of God? Did you drink? Did you have a shot of tequila or two? You know that's not righteous. God doesn't want you doing that. That's not Christ-like. You're not righteous. You're a sinner. You're going to hell. Judgment Day. On Judgment Day, you will burn. That's fucking insane to think about. Damn it, now I'm going to... Damn it, I did it again. Fuck! I'm spending a lot of time on Jaden when the reason for this video isn't even him and his rants. It's the people who jumped at the opportunity to turn this into another culture war moment without knowing any of the things that I just mentioned or knowing shit about basketball, period. Like this guy who all of a sudden cares about Miles Bridges' domestic violence charges when he has never once tweeted about Miles Bridges' domestic violence charges. And don't get me wrong, fuck that guy, right? You shouldn't have did that. But don't use that woman's trauma to get this shit off about the NBA not tolerating homophobia and being controlled or whatever the fuck it is people think. Of course, he hyper focuses on the Pride Month comments, as are all of them. Brother, he said God will come to earth and destroy all sinners, and then he called gay people sinners. He said God's gonna kill the gays. Like, what is so difficult about trying to understand why business wouldn't want to employ somebody like that? And I get it. You have your beliefs. We live in a free country. You can say what you want. People don't have to employ you. I don't know why this is so hard for you people to understand. The Chicago Bulls have every right to not employ somebody who said everybody who sins is going to burn in hell and then define sinning as things that are done by a lot of people as well as an entire community. But I wouldn't expect any of you to bring any of that up because you probably had no idea he said any of that because you're taking a headline from Twitter and just running with it as opposed to getting the full context. This bozo is literally one of like hundreds of thousands of people trying to push this narrative out there. They don't fact check anything. They just run with whatever fits their narrative. There's a meme circulating on NBA Twitter amongst all this drama where fans basically claim that a player who they don't like or they think is just straight up bad agrees with Jaden Ivey. For example, this one with Patrick Williams. And the NBA Twitter tourist fully bought into this. No research or digging involved. Patrick Williams never said that. They didn't check to see if this tweet came from like an actual reporter at all. All you had to do was click his profile and see that this is very obviously a bait account. Like it wasn't that hard to do. But they don't want to do that because it doesn't fit their narrative. Like if I really wanted to, like if I was just a complete asshole, I could probably post a TikTok right now today saying that I got fired from my job for agreeing with the comments made by Jaden Ivey and that I stand with him. All I'd have to do is put a GoFundMe link in my bio and these idiots would donate millions of dollars to me. I'd be rich as fuck. Of course, to the surprise of nobody, Christian media has been quick to reach out to Ivy to get his side of things and to prop him up as some sort of martyr. I've made it like halfway through this podcast episode from Kerrigan Skelly. It's just rough to watch because Jaden is just so clearly not there for like the millionth time.
My mother and my father, my dad had intercourse with my mother, and that bore me. That's exactly how it was from the beginning, right? And so the media has a whole day, a whole event.
To give you a chance, brother, to address that one comment that says that you were released for conduct detrimental to the team. So to me, that would mean, like, if I'm just a fan of basketball and a guy's released for that reason, I would think, well, he's being trouble on the team. He's having fights with his teammates. He's maybe, having these personality clashes with people. He's getting into it with the coach. Like, I've seen guys literally put their hands around the coach's throat and choke them in basketball. Is there anything like that going on with you and your teammates or you and your coaches, brother?
I want to make a point too, and this is just an example, right? So I just saw a video. Anthony Edwards had said some derogatory thing to some male doing I don't even think it was initially, like, I can't remember vividly.
He dodges questions, jumps to completely irrelevant topics. By the way, if you've ever seen a Jaden Ivey post-game interview, he's very much so capable of speaking in full and complete sentences without stuttering and jumping all over the place.
I'm actually chilling in my bedroom right now. I'm doing all right right now. I've been these past couple of days. I've actually been like some of the toughest days I've had in my lifetime. And as far as like pain goes, just having a major surgery, like you're gonna have a lot of pain after it. But the surgery actually went really well. I'm on pace to make a full recovery to return back to basketball. Obviously, it'll take a couple of months to get just the muscle back, whatever, and my leg, but I'm doing really well. When actually
they've done absolutely no research into his career or the other things that he has said and done recently, both in front of and behind the scenes. Zero ball knowledge whatsoever, so they don't know that the guy was literally unable to play for like half of his career so far. Cam Thomas was waived twice this year, a player that I had a lot of faith in. A player who was available and was projected by many to be an all-star sooner rather than later. A player who, after his initial release from his first team he got cut from, moved on to his new team, dropped like 30 in his first game, and almost had another 30 ball the night after that, was waived from his new team. Guys get waived for far less than projecting their religious beliefs onto everyone while being injured and not even being productive when they are healthy, and possibly being in the midst of a psychotic break while doing these things. And what I find really hypocritical is these are the same people who, when basketball players speak up about politics, something that affects all of us, even if you don't have the right to vote, especially American politics, which, if you look at the current state of the world, affect everybody. These are the people who, when you speak on politics, will tell them to shut up and dribble. And if somebody wants to, project their religious beliefs onto their entire locker room and their family and friends and the entire world, telling them that they'll burn in hell if they're not 100% pure, oh, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, you can do that. Totally. Nobody should ever tell you that you shouldn't do that. Fuck off. It's just sad to see him surrounded by these fucking vultures as opposed to people with his best interest in mind. These people don't care about the NBA. They don't care about Jaden Ivey. They only care about their agenda. They didn't watch the full live. They don't know that his family and friends have begun to distance themselves from him. Words are hard. From what I can only assume is this downward spiral that he's been on. They don't know any of that shit. He just said one bad thing about gays and got fired from his job, and they're like, you're one of us now. Yeah, you're cool as shit, buddy. If this is in fact some sort of legitimate mental break, I hope he gets the help he needs. Like, seriously. Everyone claiming that he's been blackballed from the NBA, if he's like mentally okay, he'll get signed by a team. They don't give a shit. They want the talent. Like, as long as he's not problematic, he can still get a job. The NBA, I don't even think they've spoken out about this yet. This was the Bulls. This wasn't the NBA. This wasn't Adam Silver pushing the red button and banning him from all NBA activities. Like, he can still get signed to a team. Closing thoughts, there's nothing wrong with being religious. Again, I grew up religious. My mom is still religious, and I love my mom. My dad's religious. I love my dad. My grandma's religious. I love my grandma. There's nothing wrong with being religious, but there is a right and respectful way to express your beliefs. That does not include projecting them onto everybody around you. That does not include making people uncomfortable by pressing them on how they live their life. And that does not include telling people they're going to burn in hell. Yeah, that's all I got for today. If you liked the video, leave a like, leave a comment with your thoughts down below. Hit the sub button if you haven't yet, and I'm going to catch you guys on the next one. Peace.